بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا إله إلا هو وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون صدق الله العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are about to continue our video, our series on the principles of Islamic finance, and this video is the continuation of our first video, which was justice in Islamic finance. We have already discussed few things about the ayah which I read to you, which is 19th ayah of Surah An-Nahl, where Allah commands us to do justice, to do excellence, and to give to relatives, and He forbids us from indecency, wrongdoing, and oppression. And Allah admonishes us about these things, that these are not just rules, these are the principles we have to follow. We have to internalize these principles, and we should implement these principles in our day-to-day dealings, in our life. In my first video, I was discussing about the practical applications of justice in our day-to-day life, in which we discussed about fair exchange, and how should the principle under the how should the principle of fair exchange be implemented in our life, or how do we really see it, or how do we can see it in our life. The principle of fair exchange under the principle or under the umbrella of justice under the series of the principle of Islamic finance. We discussed the topic fair exchange, we discussed the topic rights and duties, we discussed risk, shared risk, market conduct, and transparency. If you want to know about my thoughts, or if you want to know about these topics, you can watch the previous video in our series. Today we are starting how can we spot injustice in our day-to-day life. We are living with different type of people in a society. In our neighborhood, not everyone is of a single kind, a single attitude, a single conduct. So when we see, or when we observe in a society things going on, so what are the things we can see, or we can have the knowledge that yes, these are the red flags in our society, these are the things how we can spot injustice. The first thing is asymmetric information. What is asymmetric information? When one party has hidden or superior knowledge while the other is kept in dark. Again, asymmetric information: when one party has hidden or superior knowledge while the other is kept in dark. And I'll give you a real life example for this. For example, buying a used car, where the seller knows the engine is faulty and but hides it. Example, just imagine that you went to a dealership to buy a second-hand car, and the dealer knows that the car which he is trying to sell you has some issues in its engine, but he is hiding it. He's not telling you that this is an accidental car. This car has its engine opened already, aftermarket, and whatever things that might be. That dealer is not telling you about those things. He's only telling you, oh, this car is very fantastic. It has this many miles on it. It has this feature, that feature, all those things. But he's hiding the faults of that car. Now, this hiding of faults of that car comes under asymmetric information. Any information which you are hiding from the other party. Just for an example, if I went to the market to buy this register, okay. Now I went to the shop and I asked him, I want a register like this, okay. Now he knows that between this register there are faulty pages, and it's not one page that is faulty, but there are multiple pages which are really faulty. This register was like a damaged piece which came in his shop, and the shopkeeper knows that, but he hides that information and he gives me this register, that this is an amazing register, the quality of the paper is very good, and it's an amazing piece of commodity, you can have it. That is what asymmetric information is. When dealing when we are dealing in market, or we are dealing in life about anything, and both people should know the things about a commodity. A seller should know and a buyer should know, but the seller is not willing to tell the faulty things, the bad things about a particular commodity to the buyer. That is called asymmetric information. Let me give you the definition again. When one party has hidden or superior knowledge while the other is kept in dark, that is called asymmetric information. So if you see this thing in your society, in your day-to-day life, then you know that there is injustice happening around your area, with you, with others. When you see that one person is hiding the truth and keeping the buyer in darkness about the faults, about something which is bad, that comes under asymmetric information, and that thing is called injustice. Another thing how we can spot injustice in our day-to-day life is guaranteed return in equity. What is the definition of this thing, this topic, guaranteed return in equity? When an equity partner demands fixed profit regardless of business performance, violating risk sharing. To give you an example, three friends open a bakery. There were three friends who opened a bakery. One among the three partners insists on guaranteed monthly profit, while the other faces the real ups and downs. For example, there's a concept in Islamic finance called shared risk, where if there are multiple partners in a business and they are coming together to do one business, so everyone has to share the profit and loss equally. That is you cannot just have profit and not have loss. If I am investing in a business and my friend is investing his times and skills in a business, for example, I am investing my money and my friend will be investing his time and skill in a shop. So I cannot, if the shop is going well, the profit will be divided equally between him and between me. But if the shop is going until losses, so it's not that I cannot ask my friend who is not investing money in the business that you cannot have you cannot have all of the profit because I'm the one who has given the money. That's not justice. I cannot ask for a guaranteed profit in a business. That is injustice. It cannot be that the example which I was giving you, three friends open a bakery. There were three friends who opened a bakery. One invested money, one invested time, other invested skill. Now, after a while, when the bakery having losses, one of the friend who invested his money, start saying that you people, the other two friends, you haven't invested any money, so you shouldn't get any much of the profit of the bakery. I should get the most amount of profit because I was the one who invested the money. That is injustice. That is not allowed under Islamic finance. You cannot do that. If this is happening in your society, around your life, in your day to day life, that is injustice. This is what is meant by guaranteed return in equity. Another thing which we can how we can another thing how we can spot injustice in our society is risk dumped on weaker party. What does that mean? When the stronger party shifts all burden onto the weaker side, avoiding fair responsibilities. Again, when the stronger party shifts all burdens on the weaker side, avoiding fair responsibility. Example, the owner of the house rents his house, but the tenant pays for every structural default. The owner of a house, there is a house, the owner of the house gave his house in rent. Now the tenant who is supposed to pay the rent of the house is also paying for the repairs of the house. If the house is having some construction issues, if the ceiling is dripping out of water, dripping the water, if the foundation are getting weaker or deteriorating, now the owner says, you are the one who is living in this house, so you should be repairing it. That is not justice. You cannot do that. Just because you are the owner of the house, you cannot force the tenant to repair the house. That's not his responsibility. His responsibility is to pay you the rent. You as the owner are supposed to take care of the repairs of the house. So this is one example where you must have seen this a lot, where they are I mean, you can see this on the global level where countries go to war and the country which is weak is blamed for everything wrong that happened in a war. Why? Because that country is weak and the one who is claiming to be a superior country, I don't know for what reason, puts the burden, the blame, on the weaker country. You must have seen this, and if you're a history student, you must know this. What happened in Germany after the World War? Germany combined whole Germany. The people of Germany had to pay heavy duties to the winning parties. Why? Because Germany started the war. Well, not everyone in Germany started the war. I don't know if this thing which I said was right or not, but it was just an example which came into my mind and I just said it. I hope you must have understood what I wanted to say. Rest dumped on weaker parties. When a stronger person dumps all the risk onto the weaker party, that is called that's one of the way where you can spot injustice in society. Another thing is exploitative fees. This I think many of you might have observed and been a victim of this thing, where charges that are excessive, hidden, or predatory taken advantage for needs rather than serving fairly. For example, a money exchange. You as a tourist go and visit any country and you have a different currency, you went to the money exchange and they, rather than giving you your exchanged money fairly, started putting on exploitative fees on you. So much so that half of the money you gave him was cut. For example, if you're living in India and you went to, I should not take it, the name of any country. If you're living in India and you went to any other country, you took your money, you asked him, please exchange this Indian rupees into your native currency, and he, rather than giving you the exchange money fairly, put a heavy duties or heavy fees that this is there is a lot of fees in exchanging money. We have to You have to give this fees. That's one of the injustices happening in society. Another thing is sham ownership. I hope not many of you might be familiar with this term, sham ownership. When an asset is claimed to be sold or transferred but never truly changes hand without substance. What does that mean? For example, a shopkeeper sells a fridge or any commodity but never transfers the ownership to the buyer. So the buyer is literally paying the rent to that commodity, but he truly is never the owner of that commodity. What this means is, if you went and you, for an example, if you went and bought something, anything, you bought it, can be anything. The seller did not transfer the ownership of that commodity on paper in your name. That's called sham ownership. Happens in the used to happen and still happen, but it used to happen when people used to buy lands in my native country and my native state. People used to sell the lands, same piece of land, to 10 different buyers. They used to sell it, it's my property, and the ownership was never transferred to any specific person. That person left selling one plot of land to 10 different buyers. 10 of them came and said that this is my property. All 10 are saying that we paid the money to the owner of this land, but actually the ownership was never transferred to anyone. That is one of the example of sham ownership. What are the remedies, or what are the practical steps we can take so that injustice could be eliminated from our society? Well, contracts must be transparent. Any contract you sign should not have any hidden clause in it. It should be transparent. The person who is signing that contract should know exactly what is written in that contract. He should be aware that what he is signing up for. There should be no hidden clause, no fine print, terms and condition, and anything like that. All terms, risk, and obligation must be disclosed openly. No hidden clause or surprises like food. One of the example you can see is food packaging that clearly lists ingredients and expiry dates. They are food packages. They When they write the ingredients, they make sure that they write some of the ingredients in so scientific terms that the common man could not understand what he is consuming. Why are you writing so much complicated and scientific terms which you don't even use in your real life? One of the example for that is sugar. They write these food industry, sorry, has so many complicated names for sugar, and it writes under the ingredient so that the person doesn't understand that he is consuming 50%, 60%, 70% of the sugar in that packaged food. So any contract should be transparent. There should be no hidden things. You shouldn't be hiding anything. Be clear, be honest. Be honest with everything you're selling. The person who want to buy will buy. Allocation must be fair. Risk should be shared proportionally, not dumped on the weaker party, like I explained before. That risk allocation must be fair. If the two people are coming together to start a business, it cannot happen that a single person will incur all of the loss and all of the risk, and the stronger party can have all the profit and all the gains like these. Pricing must be honest. Price should reflect the real value. Like I gave you the example before. If this register, I'm going to buy this register. You cannot sell this register which cost 50 rupees for 500 rupees. That is injustice. You cannot claim that, oh, this register came from 7 oceans away and it has this paper from this specific tree which grows in a specific region, which has specific environment and all that things. You cannot be selling anything for that amount of price. If this thing really has the value of 500 rupees, you should take that. But if this register has the value of 50 rupees and you are selling it for 500 rupees, that is injustice. Governance must be strong. What do I mean by that? Oversight, accountabilities, and ethical management must be in place to prevent abuse. For an example, take an example of a school where the management is weak. If the management is very weak, bullies or the people ragging increases in that school. If the teachers are not active in making the discipline, the principal is not taking care of the school administration, these things happen. That's example. So the governance must be very strong in our financial deals and our day-to-day life. That's one of the practical way how we can stop injustice in our society. And guys, all these things which I'm telling you, these are the principles, and we have to implement it in our life. Every single person. This thing, all these things which I am telling you, the injustices and the practical steps, we have to implement them in our life. Only having the information, only listening to this video won't change our society, our world. If we keep on listening to videos, if we keep on sharing the videos, and that's all we do, but in our real life we are one of the brand ambassadors for injustice, you cannot complain about injustice in society then. I've seen people in my society, in my neighborhood, in my family, of course, who, when it comes to talking about justice or talking about righteousness, they have this loudest voice. But when it comes to practical steps, I think you must have understood what I'm trying to say. Access must be inclusive. Financial opportunities should be open to all. Not only you cannot be. There's no hierarchy in giving the opportunities to everyone. Only it cannot be that only the one person is having the financial benefits and all the tax benefits to earn money. Every person, every common man, every small shopkeeper should have equal benefits to earn money. Not only one person. Here are some takeaways which I think if you are listening to this video up till now, you should pay attention now, because this is the takeaway from this principle, and I hope that I will end this video soon, inshallah. What are the takeaways from this principle of justice in Islamic finance? One of the takeaways: define roles and risk clearly. If you're doing any business, if you're starting a shop and there are multiple partners, every person should know their role and responsibility beforehand. You cannot put obligations on people after into the business after 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 it's already been 6 months and every single person knows his responsibilities, and then when uh, some calamity happens, you start blaming other person because you didn't do this work, that's why we occurred this loss, so you are responsible for that. That cannot be, that cannot happen. Beforehand, you should be, every person should know their roles, their responsibilities, so that they can work according to their responsibilities. And the risk, all of the risk should be shared proportionately. Every person who is in the business, every person who is in a deal, every person who is in anything, in anything, should know that, should have a proportional amount of risk which comes in his pocket. What I'm trying to say is, one person cannot be blamed for all the risk while other people enjoy all the fun. I hope you understood. If not, you can comment, and I'll try to make it clear to you. Another takeaway from this series, from this principle of justice, is disclose everything material, no surprises. Everything. For example, all the important fact must be revealed upfront. No hidden clauses or concealed costs, like a doctor explaining both benefit and risk to the patient, not hiding anything. If, for example, if you went and you bought a car, very simple example, you bought a second-hand car from a dealership, then the dealer is supposed to tell you each and everything beforehand. There should be no hidden information or surprises to the person. Or you can also take an example for an investment policy, investment scheme, which where a person is asking, invest this much money in my company, and then you will get a return. But when time comes for you having return, the person say, oh, no, you cannot have the return right now because our terms and condition which you signed doesn't allow you to have your return before 5 years. Wow. So everything must be disclosed beforehand in any business deal, any financial deal. Tie returns to real activities. If a person is earning money, then he should have contributed something in a particular business. It can be his time, it can be his skill, it can be his money, it can be anything. But he cannot be earning from the air. You cannot earn from the air. Profit must come from genuine trade, assets or services, not from paper tricks or interest. You cannot you what this term means, that if you are earning something, then you have to contribute something. You cannot earn from air. Protect the weaker party, of course. If there are three partners and one partner is very weak, one partner doesn't know very powerful people, you cannot oppress him in a business. Rather, you have to protect him in that business. Just because you have money, just because you have many connections in politics, just because you know many government position officers, you cannot be oppressing a person who has given his hard-earned money or time or skills in that business. You cannot be oppressing him just because you know, or you cannot be oppressing him because you know he can't do anything back to you. Protect the weaker party. Protect weak people in the society. Not just in finance, but in everything. Protect the weak people. A last second thing which you should take away from this video is audit from substance, not paper compliance. Check whether a deal truly reflects fairness, not just whether it looks compliant on paper. Whatever you are signing up for, make sure that that thing. Call to prayer is happening. That's why I stopped. So whatever you are signing up for, your deal, your business, your investment should actually reflect that. It cannot be that you're signing up for really magical things on the paper and there is nothing backing it. For example, mm, what example I can give you? Investment policies, where a person comes and asks you for money, that we are going to do this business, we are going to invest your money in construction, invest your money in technology, invest your money in this, that, do, and whatever. But he takes your money and then what he is actually doing is investing the money in alcohol, or gambling with the money, or doing day trading with the money. What this is what it means. Audit for the substance. Whatever you are signing up for, make sure you are signing up for the thing which is actually happening in the real life. Now, embed social contribution through zakat and waqf. One of the major thing in Islamic finance is, make sure you are paying your zakat and make sure you are doing waqf for the future generation to come. See, wealth must circulate to uplift society through endowment, through public goods like river, like for example, a river that nourishes fields as it flows. Zakat and Waqf ensure wealth purifies society and build a community. So make sure if you are a person of wealth, to give your zakat and to do Waqf project for the future generation to come. And last, I will say, justice in finance is worship. What is worship? Worship is you are obedient to Allah. Whatever Allah says, Samyana wa ta'ala. So Allah commands us all of humanity, to be just, to do justice. If you are obeying Allah, then you are worshipping Allah. So justice in finance, justice in business, justice in your shop, your deals, your investment, whatever financial thing or whatever you are doing in your life, anything. If you are doing it according to the commands Allah has given us, you are you are doing an act of worship. So justice in finance is worship. Every fair contract magnifies Allah by living His command in the marketplace. If you are obeying Allah, then you are living the command Allah has given you, and that is worship. That's the spine of Islamic finance, justice. I hope you must have understood few things. I know I was going very fast, and I also am aware that I was not able to explain each and everything very clearly to you. I'll try to improve myself. I'll try to improve myself in explaining everything to you. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.